Thing is, I don't know how he recollects one specific night from 18 years ago when from all of my searching, I couldn't find a specific date mentioned anywhere by Virginia, only a mention of it being in March of 2001. He knows the exact date though. Of course he knows the exact date. And he knows that he was a family man at home with his kids. And shit, I believe him. This guy's full of valuable information. How convenient that he remembers having an alibi for such a specific night that no one else has ever mentioned publicly. Further, Virginia filed a civil suit against Andrew in the United States in 2021, and Andrew's attempts to have the case dismissed in 2022 were denied. Andrew was stripped of his military affiliation and royal patronages by the Queen. He settled a lawsuit with Virginia outside of court with an undisclosed financial amount that admitted no wrongdoing or liability. Classic. The Miami Herald's reporting laid out what many people feel to be the truth now, it seems. The criminal justice system essentially worked with Epstein to ensure that he paid as little a price as possible for his crime. Prosecutors allegedly violated the Victims' Rights Act and were even working together with the defense attorneys against the victims. This is all context for what we were saying earlier. Emails showed that Acosta had made promises to the defense lawyers to keep the deal confidential, ensuring that no details of the bargain would reach victims or the media. They followed the lead of Epstein's legal team and even reportedly suggested that the charges be filed in Miami rather than Palm Beach, where the victims lived. The Crime Victims' Rights Act outlines that victims of any crime that is to be proceeded in court, they have the right to be notified of those proceedings and the right to appear for the proceedings. Of course, they're a victim in the crime.
Just a good little boy. What you doing, little baby? Just a good little boy. Just a good little boy. What you doing, little baby? Oh, that's a good little boy. What you doing, the tiggies? You did a poopy. You did another poopy. What you doing, another poopy? Baby. You just did a spray. Baby. That's a little baby. What are you doing? You did a spray.
The Fantastic Four deserve a...
Baby, quit doing sprays. You did a double spray on me.
The crime, but thanks to the effort from the prosecution and defense, seemingly
why'd you do a spray?
at Epstein's sentencing in
Baby, you did a spray.
Of the victims, not a single one.
Where?
Spencer Kubis,
Baby.
a lawyer who represented one of the victims, said that the 14-year-old girl he represented was taken advantage of twice, once by Epstein and again by the criminal justice system that labeled her a prostitute. There were to determine that they weren't bound by the non-prosecution.
He's like,
bill
I've already
that
done a
Acosta
triple
had
spray.
AKA
I am marking my nugatory.
William Sweeney, the
Hi,
assistant
baby.
director in charge of the
He's literally
FBI's
sprayed me
New
like
York
3 or 4
field
times.
office said, we work with facts. And the facts present
He is
themselves
not
as
happy. He's like,
vermin
I'm going to claim everything while I still got juice in the tank.
Sweeney was referring to the arrest of Jeffrey
It's okay,
Epstein
little
on July
boy.
6,
You're still a good boy,
2019.
Milky.
Same month, Labor Secretary
You're just a
Alex
good little
Acosta, serving
boy.
under Donald Trump, would resign. Alongside Epstein's arrest,
That's
his mansion was
okay.
raided and evidence was
That's
seized
okay,
by federal
baby.
agents armed with a search warrant. There's tons of famous photos of him coming out of the house with bags full of seized items, including a vast trove of lewd photographs of young women and girls. Horrible, CSAM, disgusting stuff. And on July 8th, the U.S. Attorney's Office would post a press release on Justice.gov announcing that Jeffrey Epstein would be charged with sex trafficking minors as well
There's
as
your good little boy.
sex trafficking of minors between 2002
Just did
self.
a good little boy.
Ruled a suicide.
What we know now is that at 6:39 this morning, the fire department and EMS here in New York City got a phone call from MCC, which is a federal detention facility here in Manhattan in New York City, where Jeffrey Epstein was being held awaiting trial. They took him to New York's downtown hospital. He was in cardiac arrest. He was pronounced there.
Epstein was found injured in his cell. He was found semi-conscious on the floor of the cell in the fetal position with marks around his neck, as well as with a piece of bed sheet. So maybe he tried to kill himself again. Maybe he'd staged an attack potentially to try and facilitate a transfer, or maybe make an argument that he wasn't safe and that he should be allowed bail, which he'd been denied a week earlier. Or maybe he'd legitimately been attacked.
Look at my
We have
little
no
baby.
idea.
Come
Whichever of
on.
those things is true, it doesn't matter. The fact is that 17
Did you
days
do
later,
your
he
spray
was found
spray?
dead of an
It's a little
apparent
baby. Come
suicide,
here.
which just proves that there
Oh,
was some
little
kind
baby.
4 p.m.,
Come here,
10
sweetie.
p.m., midnight,
Come
3
here,
a.m.,
baby.
or 5 a.m. counts
Just
as
go,
internal
little boy.
video footage shows
Just
that
go,
these
little
counts
boy.
hadn't actually
Hi,
occurred.
Pooky.
2 guards,
Pooky.
Ava, Noel, and Michael Thomas, were indicted and faced
Come here,
charges of
sweetie.
federal conspiracy
baby.
and filing false records to which they pled not guilty. They were accused of sleeping and browsing the internet for things
Pooky.
like furniture sales, 9gag,
Hi,
Reddit,
little
motorcycles, and sports news when they should have been doing their rounds. You know, in
What you
the
doing, little baby?
prison they worked in. U.S. District
What
Court
you doing,
Judge
little baby?
Annalisa Torres
Come
later
here.
dismissed the charges, and they were required only to
There, sweetie.
complete 100 hours of
that's a good
community
little
service and
boy.
cooperate with the DOJ review.
That's a good little boy. Come here.
Justice again, guys. Tyler Noel was even named in a handwritten note found in Epstein's cell, which complained about the jail's conditions. Noel
Go
had
to your
also
biggie.
found
Wow,
out
that was
that
good.
Epstein-
What you doing? What you doing, sweetheart? That's a good little boy. That's a good little boy. Hi, Pooky. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Wow,
central to
that's
distinguishing how he
good.
came to be involved.
That's a good little boy.
Jeffrey's brother
Hi, sweetie.
hired him to look
Just a
into
good little boy.
He was present
Just
in
a
the
good little
autopsy,
boy.
but he did not.
Hi, sweetie.
Dr. Kristen Roman was the medical examiner who conducted the
That's a good
autopsy
little
and
boy.
didn't initially
Do it, Pinky.
classify it as a
Do it,
suicide
Pinky.
or
Do it,
homicide,
Susie.
but left it
Wow.
as pending. 16
That's a good little boy. You could do a Subi? Or you could do a Subi? Hi, baby. That's a good boy. Do a Subi, Pooky. What you doing?
2 days after Epstein's death,
What you doing? You're just a baby. Hi, baby. That's a little baby. Wow, look at that Subi. Look at that Subi. Look at that Pooky Poo. That's a good little boy. Wow, that's a good little boy. Wow, that's a good little boy. Wow. Look at that baby.
and was simply an example of
Look at that little baby.
so.
You're just a good little booby. That's a brand new booby. Look at that little baby.
On screen are some of the words that these women shared about their suffering at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein.
Knock it now, sweetie. Because you and Runty are just gonna fight. I can't let you guys get together because you guys are just hurt each other. So you guys have to wait till you get all your hormones out of you. Then we can become best friends again. You're just a good little boy, but you're too aggressive. You're too aggressive, big boy. You're just a special little guy, though. Wow. That's my little boy. You doing the diggies?
Ghislaine Maxwell still free at the time.
You doing the
of hearing
diggies?
after Jeffrey Epstein's
You
death.
doing the diggies,
Conviction by
baby?
victims
You're
was
just
talking
doing the
about the
diggies.
trauma
That's
they
good.
suffered
Wow.
against Epstein. Andy Farmer,
That's so
speaking
good.
on behalf of her sister Maria
That's a
Farmer,
good little
sisters
boy.
who first came forward in the
That's a good little
1990s,
boy.
she said Jeffrey Epstein
Good
and
little
Ghislaine
boy.
Maxwell not only assaulted her,
Hi,
but as
baby.
we're hearing from so many of the brave women
Aw,
here today, they stole her
Pooky.
dreams and her livelihood. The
Hi,
victims, many of
Pooky.
whom had prepared for years to face their abuser in court,
That's
had that
a good
opportunity
little boy.
stolen by what looked like an
What you doing?
exhaustingly consistent pattern of
What are you doing, sweetheart?
From the very beginning to the very end. It's just
What you doing,
never ends.
baby?
Every single time
You
when
doing your
there's an
diggies?
easy way or a corner to cut, and Jeffrey
You doing your
Epstein knows
diggies?
exactly what has happened. And I'm hoping that something.
You doing the diggies? That's my little diggy machine. That's a diggy
So
papa.
Jeffrey Epstein's dead, and a lot of the victims have a day in court. What about
That's a
Ghislaine
good
Maxwell
little
and
boy.
Jean-Luc Brunel? Well, despite
Hi,
Epstein's death
baby.
in August of 2019,
Hi,
Ghislaine
sweetheart.
would have almost an entire year
That's a
in prison
good
before
little
law
boy.
enforcement would catch up to her.
That's a
In the
good little
meantime, the
boy.
mantra, Epstein didn't kill himself, is
Hi,
being echoed
baby.
around the nation by us
Wow.
citizens, members of the service and members of the government alike. There's even
That's
talk
not a
that
choo-choo.
ex-Navy
That's
SEALs
not a
talking about
chewy.
canines just randomly
What are you
sent.
doing, baby? You're just a baby. Too soupy. You're too soupy. That's a good little boy. Hi, Pooky. That's a good little baby. Hi, sweet boy. That's a good boy.
In contrast, Brunel's French prosecution ended abruptly with his death before trial. Virginia Joseph, a woman who accused him of
Oh, that's a good little boy. That's a good little boy.
her husband Scott Borger's son and sister Isabel. When she was caught, she tried to evade authorities and failed. She also tried to shield her phone signal from escaping by wrapping it in tin foil. She'd been hiding out in a secluded piece of land near a small farming town, 156-acre property with a multi-million-dollar home on it. It was purchased with the intent of hiding out, literally with the most recent purchase being traced
Hi,
in
baby.
December 2019, all cash by an anonymous
Hi,
LLC.
Pooky.
Clearly someone who has nothing to hide. During her apprehension with the FBI agents storming through town, locals believed a marijuana growing operation was being shut down. Ghislaine's
Pooky.
crimes, the sexual trafficking, exploitation, and abuse of minors went all the way back
Hi,
to
sweet baby.
1994.
That's a
Went
good
on
little
for
boy.
at least a decade. once
That's
the
such a
indictment
good
began
little
served
boy.
with victims as
Hi,
young as 14 years
baby.
old. And Maxwell's
Oh,
criminal
hi.
enterprise with
That's a
Epstein
good
evolved through
boy.
two distinct phases. During the
That's my
earlier
little
phase, from
buddy.
1994 to 2001,
Oh,
she
that's a
targeted
good little
vulnerable
boy.
girls one at a time, typically
Wow,
from
come
single
here,
mother
sweetie.
households and
Come here,
facing
baby.
financial difficulties.
Come here,
Later
baby.
phase,
That's
from
a good little
2001
boy.
to 2004, saw the creation
Good
of a
boy.
pyramid scheme where victims
That's a
were
good
coerced
boy.
into recruiting additional girls.
That's a good little boy.
During the first phase, while Maxwell herself was
Wow.
in his properties and in his presence, how Maxwell would ask
What
if
you
he
doing in
knew
there?
girls that could give
What are you
Epstein
doing?
oral sex and how
What you doing, baby?
sex 3 times
What
a
you
day.
doing, little buddy?
Maxwell, of course, pled not guilty and
There's a little baby. Wow. See the goober?
not guilty to the 6 federal
What you
charges
doing?
that she faced, but she
Hi,
was found
baby.
guilty by a New York State jury.
That's a little baby. Wow. What you doing? Wow. You going to the party? That's a good little boy. Hi, Mookie. That's Rentaroo. That's your brother.
Served up to 55 years due to her denying
He's rebelling because he wants to be out too, but you two would just fight, or else I would let you two out. You're both just a good boy.
She didn't quite get the sweetheart deal that Epstein got back in the 2000s, but she still got short
What you
of
doing?
what she deserves. Anything
What you
short of
doing?
death.
Come here, sweetie. Do a soup.
Hi, Pooky.
Ghislaine's also been placed in a prison that
Hi,
offers
baby.
classes and activities from
Come here.
things like painting, ceramics, and leatherworking,
Good
team
boy.
sports, basketball, volleyball, softball, yoga, Pilates.
That's my little buddy.
Nonsense. I don't know, dude.
That's
Just
my
put them in a
little
damn
buddy.
hole. Just put people in a
Hi,
hole.
baby
Why they're not-
boy. That's a good
Why
little
is that?
boy.
Why is the whole hotel rehab shit? Why is that a thing? And victims interviewed in a 60 Minutes episode described the environment as a meat market where you are there for someone to try to take you home.
That's a good little boy.
He's got the agency.
Hi,
he's got the
baby.
girls, his friends, so look, I'd like to have, I'd like to meet some girls, or we're having a party.
That's a good little baby.
And what happens if you say no? You don't work.
And despite the exposure then, and
Just a
even
good
over a
little
decade
boy.
later in
Come here.
1999, in an
Come here, sweetie.
investigation of the fashion industry on
That's
the
a good
show,
little boy.
is alleging Brunel raped her in the
Oh,
early
sweet
2000s
baby
at Epstein's
boy.
private island, and Brunel has been photographed
Look
with
at that
Maxwell
baby
at
boy.
Epstein's island, and emotions
Look at that
sent
little
by
baby
the
boy.
employer of 2
Come
victims
here.
described how Brunel farmed
You're a
out
good little
girls
boy.
to wealthy clients, especially.
That's a sweet little boy.
Similarly to Epstein, and over 2 years after Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel was found dead in his prison cell
Hi,
hanging from
baby.
bed sheets, despite being held in the vulnerable people area, which is a space where people seem to be at risk, facing violence as well, self-inflicted
That's
or
good,
otherwise. Brunel, having attempted suicide, bragged about sleeping with over 1,000 of Brunel's girls. So of the 3 people who had been arrested and
Good
faced
boy.
charges relating to sex trafficking,
Hi,
abuse,
baby
and rape
boy.
of minors, 2 had died similarly
That's a good
before they
little
could
boy.
ever be formally charged and sentenced, and 1 is seeing a prolonged stint behind bars with the occasional talent show. Plus, the similarities between Jean-Luc and Epstein with the way that they died, I mean, conspiracies are absolutely right?
Pooky.
Hi, sweet baby. Hi, sweet
Since
baby.
2019, the case has
There's a
evolved
good
from
little boy.
prostitution into a symbol
There's
of
a good little boy.
institutional
What are you
failure.
doing with
Despite
that?
promises of transparency, over
There's a good little boy.
11,500 FBI documents remain sealed, Multiple rounds of
Hi,
Epstein-file
baby.
releases have revealed
Hi,
a lot,
baby.
though not
That's
enough
a good
in the eyes
one,
of
boy.
many. And the way that the story continues to change leaves many skeptical
that was
about the
good.
true
Did you do
intent contact information for
Hi.
those Epstein associated with
baby.
was released publicly for the
That's
first
a good
time. The
little
release
boy.
wasn't the result of any promise from an administration to be transparent with the
Hi,
public, but the result
sweetheart.
of Virginia Giuffre
That's a
filing
good
a
little
defamation
boy.
lawsuit against Ghislaine
Are you
Maxwell
good?
after
Are you
Maxwell
a
called her
big
a liar for
Come here,
claiming to
sweetie.
be a victim.
Aw,
Gawker had
hi,
published the book,
baby.
making it publicly available. This was the first time we had access to the name of
Wow.
the fights on November 11th, 2008. Just spending a couple weeks in the throw. Some of the time, obviously, you could just not write people's names down. For example, you're traveling to a pedophile island. It makes sense to not have proof that Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, Donald Trump, former president of the United States, is going to your island, European crimes. It makes sense to not write it down. And there are times in which there are claims to dispute 2, 3, or even 4 lives.
That's a good little boy. That's a good little boy. That's a good little boy. Hi, baby. Hi, sweetie. That's a good little boy. That's a good little boy. Are you doing boobies? Are you doing little boobies? You're doing boobies.
The time of his arrest, the time of his death. What was recovered? Who was
Hi,
involved?
sweetie.
What the f was going on? There's one particular email of note from Epstein to Maxwell that was released on January 12, 2015, where Epstein told Maxwell to reward any friends and family of Giuffre who came forward to prove her false. This email
What
also
you doing,
contains a
baby?
reference
You're
to
just doing
Giuffre's
boobies
involvement
everywhere.
in Hawkins versus
You're just
the
doing these
Israeli
boobies.
orgy in the Virgin Islands.
Why all these boobies?
Epstein's island is located.
You're just a baby.
Stephen Hawking.
You're just a baby.
Were released soon after that as well.
You're just a
with
baby
lackluster
boy.
results and lukewarm reactions from the public.
You're just a
Not
little baby
any
boy.
bombshells, nothing interesting.
Hi,
In
sweetheart.
February 2024, Ron DeSantis signed a bill that would make the 2006 grand jury investigation public, and it revealed more of what we've already covered, that Epstein got a sweetheart deal. Also, prosecutors were painting victims as prostitutes.
Hi.
That's also known from
Hey,
the fact that
baby.
Epstein was charged back then with
Well.
soliciting prostitution from someone under the age of 18, so that's
That's a good little boy. That's a good